Madam Boss is back to reality after living a dream in the United States of America in the past week. Succession wars have been given a green light. Mike Chimombe and partner Moses Mpofu still battling for bail. It's been an eventful week which we capture for you in the news brief here on HSTV News and Current Affairs. I am Gaddafi Wells, the boy from Mavuku. Join us after this break for more. Welcome back to this news brief. I'm Gaddafi Wells, this is the news, and turning to our top story. President Emmerson Mnangagwa appears to have buckled under international pressure, forcing him to abandon his plans to stay on as president beyond 2030. Insiders said Mnangagwa faced internal resistance as he tried to rally his troops in Zanu PF to push for a presidential term extension in violation of the constitution.
The race is on in Zanu PF as the hunt for President Emmerson Mnangagwa's replacement starts ahead of the party's 2027 elective Congress. Mnangagwa could have unwittingly put the cat among the pigeons when he announced he would not seek to extend his presidency beyond the constitutionally allowed 2 terms.
President Mnangagwa, my term will 5 years, 5 years. In the 5 years, Tapera, China Congress, Mnangagwa. So now, my last 5 years, Tapera Manjimanji. Then I could Zorora. Then I Congress, Mosaka Umwe, and let you know me, I still have to
The race is on in Zanu PF as the hunt for President Emmerson Mnangagwa's replacement starts ahead of the party's 2027 elective Congress. Mnangagwa could have unwittingly put the cat among the pigeons when he announced he would not seek to extend his presidency beyond the constitutionally allowed 2 terms. The announcement by Mnangagwa is expected to change the course in Zanu PF after slogans for the term extension to 2030 has already been crafted, chanted, accepted, and endorsed by Mnangagwa himself.
My ministers, the slogan, Mnangagwa pointer, and this time I'm going to slogan here. Do not want testa. Yes, well done. We had the slogan. Baba Mnangagwa, oh yeah. Pamberi ne Zanu PF. Vanenge varipo baba Mnangagwa 2030. Pasi nenubu. Apasa deputy. Vanonzi honorable Gata.
Chivakera mudenga. Chivakera mudenga. Pamberi comrade Mnangagwa. Pamberi kudzidza. 2030 woye. 2030 woye.
Unless Mnangagwa's leader is imposed ahead of the Congress, it is likely to be one of the most bruising polls and tests for internal democracy for the ruling party, which has not known how to elect its leader without force. Since Mugabe took control of Zanu PF, there has never been an open election for the party presidency. Only Simba Makoni attempted to challenge Mugabe, but ended up being left in the cold.
My term will 5 years, 5 years. In the 5 years, Tapera, China Congress, Mnangagwa. So now, my last 5 years, Tapera Manjimanji. Then I could Zorora. Then I Congress, Mosaka Umwe, and let you know me, I still have to
Vice President Constantino Chiwenga battling ill health, appears to be the most suitable successor of Mnangagwa given his Operation Restore Legacy role and the respect he commands within the army itself, a major guarantor of power in Zanu PF. Mnangagwa's ally and longtime opposition figure, Eddie Cross, has however written off Chiwenga as a factor in the power matrix.
Everybody's got to look for new leadership. Emerson is not going to run for a third term. He is going to retire in 28. And ZANU itself, there's a generational change taking place. You know, I talk to some of the younger people in ZANU PF. There's some exciting guys, really exciting guys.
General Chiwenga is second in line. Wouldn't he be taking that post?
Iowa, not even for 5 minutes. Chiwenga is part of the past, and he's gone as far as he can do. He will retire along with Emerson.
Mnangagwa has, over his time as president, appeared to be setting up his children into strategic positions so that he retains control of governance even if he steps down on account of term limits. He appointed his nephew, David Mnangagwa, Deputy Finance Minister, another son, as a top commander in the military, while Emerson Jr., who is seen as favored to succeed his father, has remained very influential within ZANU PF and government circles. Law professor and opposition figure Love Mo Maduku 2 months ago has spoke on Mnangagwa's attempt to extend his presidency.
The President Matala's constitutionalism, very happy to hear that the President says ask for the third term. And that is a very good thing. And so I think that is not a small thing. Keep talking about that, because I saw that he says, look, my journalist, third term, which is a good thing, that he doesn't like the third term. So don't put it up when you guys go.
Although insiders believe Mnangagwa could have buckled to internal pressure from his peers in ZANU PF, Monzora thinks it's down to the constitution, which made it impossible for the term extension. The constitution requires a referendum to allow any tinkering with the constitution on presidential term limits. It also has a clause that excludes incumbents from benefiting from any term extension.
A president must serve a maximum of 2 terms. This president has been given more than 2 terms already. He completed the term of President Mugabe. He then was given a 5-year term, and he has got another 5-year term. And there is no need for him to seek another extension of term. That is unconstitutional. That is desecration of our constitution, and that is unacceptable.
Okay, so maybe lastly still.
The disclosures by Mnangagwa that he is now indeed a last-term president is likely to see the shifting of allegiances to reflect the new power matrix, which will openly show in 2027. Many in the party are only loyal to power and will shift allegiance the moment power moves, as seen just before and after the 2017 coup. Reporting for HSTV News and Current Affairs, Nyasha Chikochi.
Former CCC parliamentarian Job Sikhala and Transform Zimbabwe leader Jacob Ngarivhume are seeking out former CCC leader Nelson Chamisa with the hope of roping him in so that he joins their coalition put together so they fight against ZANU PF and corruption. Sikhala, currently out of the country, leads the National Democratic Working Group, which he formed soon after he was released from 2 years of pre-trial incarceration.
So, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, like any Zimbabwean, is welcome. Is welcome to be part of this organization. I've personally been speaking to him recently after we met at some event, and we are actually planning a meeting to discuss and see how, to just understand each other. You know, what he's doing and what we are doing. This is at a level of Transform Zimbabwe, of course, and himself. So we speak to everybody, and the idea really is to make sure that we bring everybody together. So
Zimbabwe National Army Commander Anselm Sanyatwe is at the center of a political storm. in a case which could see him appearing before the courts. The general turned into politics in what appears as a clear violation of the constitution, in scenes reminiscent of the straitjacket call by former and late General Vitalis Zvinavashe. Sanyatwe told villagers Zanu PF would not leave power. The general, who was briefly taken out of the military and posted to Tanzania as ambassador, was one of those found to be responsible for the cold-blooded killings of 6 unarmed civilians post the 2018 general elections. The commission, then appointed by President Emerson Mnangagwa, had recommended that those behind the killings be brought to book.
Zanu PF itatonga kusika matonge ameranya. Muchita musingadi. Ameni. Apa ndakutaura sakomanda ami. Shashandisa inonzi command 40. Yes. Yayaye masapuku wariti wemusanga chazvigadzira. Yes. Amen. Zanu PF. Amberina idi Mnangagwa. Pasine mandu. Security forces saka PC mkuru we mauto ndini.
We wish to make it very clear to all Zimbabwean citizens that the security organization will only stand in support of those political leaders that will pursue Zimbabwe's value, traditions, belief, for which thousands of lives were lost in pursuit of Zimbabwe's hard-won independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the national interest. To this end, let it be known that the highest office on the land is a straitjacket, whose occupant is expected to observe the objectives of the liberation struggle. We will therefore not accept, let alone support or salute anyone with a different agenda that threatens the very existence of our sovereignty, our country, and our people.
Leading constitutional lawyer Tabani Mpofu has not taken it lying down, asking the general to retract his statements or face litigation. Mpofu gave Sanyatwe 7 days to act or face him in the court. Open courts, I consider the above statements to be in violation of the first schedule of the Defense Act, Chapter 11.2, in that your conduct in uttering the above statements was unbecoming of an officer and a gentleman, as it amounted to willful and wanton violation of the Constitution and laws of Zimbabwe. Close quote. Douglas Monzora, leader of the MDCT, was also unhappy with Sanyatwe's statements.
It was very irresponsible, it was illegal, it was unconstitutional. And it was ungeneral-like for General Sanyatwe to do that, because the conduct of armed forces is governed by the Constitution. It is governed specifically by Chapter 11 of our Constitution. And Chapter 11 says in no uncertain terms that no member of the security forces shall actively support a political party or shall act against the interests of any political party or cause. What General did was to emasculate the Constitution, to desecrate the Constitution. And what this shows is that more is to come. Now General Sanyatwe has acted in a very unconstitutional manner and in an irresponsible manner.
Teachers have taken sides with fired Deputy Minister of Higher Education Simelisizwe Sibanda, who was fired from office by President Mnangagwa on July 1. His firing orders came without specifying the reasons why he was sacked. Tinashe Matambo gives us the full story.
Teachers' union leaders have criticized government for deploying teachers to areas where they struggle to communicate in local languages, setting them up for failure. The reactions come following the sacking of Higher Education Deputy Minister Simelisizwe Sivanda by his boss President Mnangagwa on allegations that he could have feigned tribalism. Although in the letter of dismissal released to the public, Mnangagwa did not say why he fired Sivanda. The apology letter released by the former minister shows it was because he had acted in an unprofessional manner as he humiliated an ECD teacher, Winnet Maradze, for her poor proficiency in Ndebele.
Izolo besilo minister we primary secondary education ucheka kwazi ukuthi kulomuntu angasindebele ofundisa abantwana isindebele. Kindly transfer teacher law with immediate effect. Siyakuzwisisa. Asifuni ukubulawela abantwana awulazi uqethu.
Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe President Obet Masaraure said the struggles faced by the teachers were being caused by Mnangagwa's government, which was not sensitive to these challenges.
But if that is the case where teachers are deployed in areas to teach infants, learners in ECD among others, when they do not speak the indigenous language, that's cruel to the learners.
He also accused the Zanu PF-led government of perpetuating a colonial-era system that divides Zimbabweans based on language.
Again, the other issue that we need to deal with, we should understand that these issues we are dealing with symptoms. We have structural issues that are historical. Well, colonialism, what it did to us was to divide us as a people. They made sure that those who speak Isindebele would forever hate those who are Shona. And they made it through deployments, through promotions. But we inherited that system. Instead of dealing with it, we perfected it. We've seen a lot of Shona supremacism being implemented, which is very unfortunate.
Goodwill Taderera, Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, urged the government to reform its teacher deployment policy to ensure teachers are recruited to communities where they can communicate effectively.
They should come up with a deliberate policy where they can then facilitate all those who intend to become teachers, who come from different geographical positions, to then invite them without too many strings attached to get to colleges, so that indeed they can then go back to their communities where they came from and serve their own communities.
Both unions condemned Bubi Member of Parliament Sivanda's tribalistic behavior, but have since accepted his apology and put the issue to rest. Reporting for HSTV News and Current Affairs, Tinashe Matambo, Harare.
The ZiG could soon be the sole legal currency after President Mnangagwa indicated he could cut the use of the United States dollars locally as government pushes for a full return of the local currency.
Biden hatidi ibumoda mari ya Biden. Tunafamba izozo. Asambika. Yeah. Saka isikuse Zanu PF. Hatingati toramba chimhanya nemari yevanhu vasingatidi. Vane zuva ravangangoita zvavanganoita tikashazvo kuita. Saka tava neZiG, Zimbabwe gold currency yedu yatiri kusumudza. Munonzwa pa TV yedu pa ZiG yedu, ZiG 1, ZiG 2. Makazviona ka? Imari yedu iyoyo ndiyo yatakusumudza kuti in 2 years munomu. In fact 2 years kure tichasvika pokuti kana ndavona ini kuti aiwa ZiG yapinda kose kose, makoini yapinda kose kose, maribikwane change yapinda kose kose, ndozoti naiwa nguva yasvika yekuti nyika ino yakungoshandisa ZiG.
Economist Chenai Mutambasere, however, dismissed President Mnangagwa's statements as unreasonable and almost treasonous. Speaking during an express by our sister weekly paper, The Standard, Mutambasere said there was too little money to support the return of the local currency. She also said the ZiG itself was not real money, but just a mere representation of the gold and other minerals. Turning to the ouster of the late former President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, history books have been rewritten with Father Fidelis Mukonori denying that there was ever a coup to oust the late Mugabe from power. Speaking on Free Talk, Mukonori, who is the executive director of Center for Initiatives of Peace in Africa, said it was the people of Zimbabwe who loved Mugabe but just wanted him to rest.
Well, I never saw any guns being used there. I saw the language people saying, Mugabe, it's enough, you rest. And I advised him to do this, to do so. Say, people are saying, Zakwana, Kushungo, and he accepted to rest.
Government says it has started feeding over 6 million Zimbabweans who are food insecure owing to the El Nino-induced drought. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube made the disclosure at a function where he received over 30 million United States dollars from the Africa Risk Capacity.
Today, I'm honored to, and on behalf of the government of Zimbabwe, to receive the ARC drought insurance payout amounting to $16.8 million US dollars, which will come directly to the government. The payout is complemented by payouts to our ARC replica partners amounting to $6.1 million US dollars to the WFP and $8.9 million US dollars to Start Network. Zimbabwe will therefore receive a total of $31.8 million US dollars from this payout.
Zanu PF Central Committee member Mike Chimombe and his business partner Moses Mpofu have now spent close to 2 weeks in remand prison while battling for bail. The two, who appear to be facing punishment for outing sensitive deals allegedly involving the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and Wicknell Chivhayo, have now fallen on hard times. Our court reporter gives us more.
It all started as a fight over spoils of an alleged tender scam among 3 businessmen, Wicknell Chivhayo, Mike Chimombe, and Moses Mpofu, being the center of a corruption expose, which has now turned into a nightmare for those who might engineered it. Chimombe and Mpofu have spent what arguably might the worst week of their hustling lives. 2 weeks plus weekends in remand prison over a presidential GOAT scheme that has now turned into a GOAT fraud. Their bail hearing has now dragged for 2 weeks, with the state pulling all stops to keep Chimombe, a Zanu PF Central Committee member, and Mpofu locked up for as long as they possibly can. The state argues if the two are released, there would be a national outcry because the GOAT scheme, unknown for 3 years, is at the heart of people's concerns. Twice now, the bail hearing has been stalled because the magistrate Marewana Zogofa is unwell and could not report for work.
What has happened today?
We have just started our bail application. That is the process that is under.
And it was postponed to tomorrow.
It was postponed to tomorrow.
That's all we can say.
Yes.
Quarter past 11 or thereafter.
It is a week that Chimombe, who fell literally as he found his way into court, would like to forget and put behind him. He slipped from the stairs and hit the ground hard, sustaining minor injuries. At the same time, his business was being evicted from its rented offices. At the same time, self-proclaimed pastor and friend of the two, Passion Java, made a show as he came to court in solidarity to his peers. The bigger matter of the alleged ZEC tender, which cost the nation millions in taxpayers' money and his capacity to shake Zanu PF. The Elections Board and President's Office has been kept under hushed tones. Goals have become more important than ballot papers, and the transparency of lack of it in running of polls.
Well, first of all, it is very difficult to understand, but from what is in the public domain, it seems that there has been a scandal. At least some people have been mentioned in that scandal. The list that you would expect is for the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission or the ZRP to question the people mentioned. We noticed that I think 2 people have been arrested, but there are more than 2 people who have been mentioned. So we are not saying that the people must be arrested, but they at least must be questioned. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission is duty bound to investigate the allegations that are coming from the members of the public. But what seems to be complicating the issue, the Chivhayo-ZEC issue, is that both ZEC and Chivhayo have written that they have nothing to do with one another. They did not have a contract. And I think that presents a conundrum, that presents a difficulty to the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, where one says, I never contracted this one, and the other one says, I was also not contracted. But what this ZAC has to do is to go to the ZEC books of accounts and see who they paid in connection with this contract. So there appears on the face of it a serious cover-up. And it looks like we now have in this country a group of people who are untouchable. And it looks like there are serious issues of state capture in this country. We don't want state capture in our country. We don't want corrupt officials to capture the institutions of government and make a lot of money while producing nothing. Most of the business people who are flaunting wealth, who are flaunting money, do not have tangible things that they are producing in this country. And I think that is a source of a great source of worry for us. But the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission must live up to its expectations, question these people, and if they are innocent, or if they think that they are innocent, they then leave them after questioning them. What we are worried about is that some people are not being questioned while their names have been thrown, and we need to, Zimbabweans are entitled to know the truth.
The boys unrattled those in power and they are being put straight back in line. No more Maurawa. Reporting for HSTV News and Current Affairs.
In Hwange district, young girls are being forced to stay in bush boardings so that they are closer to school. These boardings are unsafe, especially for young girls who are exposed to sexual assault in unsafe living conditions. Our Matebeleland correspondent gives us the full story.
Mercy lives in Mashala Ward of Hwange District, Matebeleland North Province. She is a Form 2 student in Nechisala Secondary. The school is 15 kilometers from her home. She had been lodging at a village near the school. Some of her colleagues stayed at the school using classrooms as their bedrooms. This is one of many schools in the province which has what are known as bush boardings, where children live in informal structures. The girls at this school had to bath early morning in the open and they prepared their food in the open. They were exposed to the dangers of sexual abuse. This situation has seen many girls dropping out of school at primary level. This has also resulted in an increase in cases of early child marriages as the girls would be idle at home. Thanks to Roman Catholic priest Father Peacock and World Vision Hwange area program, who sourced funds to construct a boarding house for girls at the school. 44 years after the attainment of independence, government has not managed to provide decent education facilities for these vulnerable communities in this region.
About 20 kilometers. So I started ndiwe kuna na makumbotei yogara pana pechikoro tanga ogara pana pechikoro teilala mu class shama mtulonga.
Children were sleeping in the classrooms when you came last time, but now today they're sleeping in the comfort of a dormitory which is furnished with beds, linen, and also they've got piped water now.
Minister of Primary and Secondary Education Communications Director Taungana Ndoro confirmed the existence of these informal boarding facilities in the province. Ndoro said there are still some bush boarding arrangements in Matabele North Province. He said government encourages sustainable boarding facilities that do not expose children, particularly girls, to serious risks such as sexual abuse, exploitation, and other hazards. The ministry spokesperson said government, in conjunction with other stakeholders, have come up with various interventions so as to completely eradicate the informal and unsafe boarding arrangements.
And now let me hand you over to Tinashe Matambo for sports. He gives us an update on how Jairus Tapera and his boys are keeping us worried. Over to you, Tinashe.
Thank you, Gaddafi Woes. Bringing you sports update as usual. I am Tinashe Matambo. Tapera will remain in charge of the Warriors even though he has failed to enjoy any success at the helm of the team. His stint at the Warriors has been marked by 2 embarrassing losses in World Cup Group C qualifiers to South Africa and the lowly ranked Lesotho. The Warriors, who have turned to Warrior, suffered an early exit from the COSAFA Championships after falling 2-0 to Kenya. Many would have felt it is time for Tapera to be finished, as his name suggests, but ZIFA Normalization Committee Chairman Lincoln Mutasa has other ideas.
I have no problem recommending the team to continue.
This means Tapera will be in charge of Warriors who have been drawn into Group J for AFCON 2025 qualifiers. If the current performances are anything to go by, the team is not expected to go past football giants Cameroon and Namibia. As fate would have it, the Warriors will have another encounter with Kenya in AFCON qualifiers. The 2025 AFCON qualifiers will kick off in September and are expected to run into second quarter of 2025, with finals set for Morocco from December 21, 2025 to January 18, 2026. Turning to the local scene, FC Platinum coach Nomini Mapeza and Ngezi Platinum Stars striker Obrio Chirinda were voted Kasolaga Premier Soccer coach and player of the month respectively. Mapeza's FC Platinum are at the apex of the log after collecting 7 points in their last 3 games, pocketing 35 points in total. Obrio Chirinda was in cloud 9, dedicating the award to his coach and teammates for their unwavering support. Kasolaga Premier Soccer League action has been halted and they will resume action on 13 July. No friendly matches will be sanctioned during this period, as the league is currently on mid-season break. Cape United's William Manondo is currently the league's top goal scorer with 8 goals, followed by Ivan Zikatema, Bigita Minerals, and Lino Tichuko Islanders, who both scored identical 7 goals. Zimbabwe Cricket recently suspended 2 National Premier League cricketers from all cricket activities pending a disciplinary hearing over use of recreational drugs. Scorpions Beta Blessed Ntize and Takashinga Patriots 2 bowler Brighton Chipungu both tested positive for marijuana during a doping test. That was all for Sports Update with me, Tinashe Matambo. Back to you, Gaddafi.
Let's return to our social media video of the week. The oath of office is being taken down south. Take a listen.
And to perform the functions of my office conscientiously, that's okay, and the best of my ability. Conscientiously.
That's all we had for you for this news brief. I'm Gaddafi Wells, wishing you an amazing weekend. Don't forget to subscribe and set notifications for our amazing cast of programming. From me and the crew behind the scenes, have a good night and amazing weekend.
Dzingadai dziri dzavo mawanzira wanoita
dzimba dzavo vanoda kuti isu vamwe tigare mumiti dzimba 10